What's up everyone, it's Core Master and I'm back after the longest time of not recording a video. So this is gonna be CD Collection update number 17 and yeah, the last update I did was when I did my 400 CD collection whole entire display of CDs, which that video was a bitch to record. And I'm really proud of that video. And after that, I've done a couple of videos there and there, but I am back with more goodies, and hoping you guys enjoy this kind of videos that I've done recently. If you guys want to keep supporting the channel, always hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for future content. But we're gonna try doing stuff differently in this video. I'm trying new stuff in editing wise, so hopefully the editing is kind of perfect. But before I begin to kind of show the goodies that I got in the past couple of months, I want to show you guys the city that I show you guys in my collection update in the 400 CD special, being that this was my 400 CD, but I wanted to save it for a special occasion like this because I actually got it signed by one of the band members from this album. Of course, I'm talking about Judas Priest's Juggulator, and of course, it is signed by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Tim Ripper Owens. And just to show you guys more clearly the signature, it is a really, really great signature. And the concert I went to, I mean, you can kind of see it right there, an amazing concert. I got to meet Ripper Owens after the show for a couple of minutes. He was nice enough to sign this city. So I am actually happy that I got to meet a metal god in some perspective, but uh great show. And I have a couple of shows lined up ready. Of course, I have Saxon and Uriah Heep in May. I have the Caifanes show in June. I just bought tickets for Till Lindemann for September, and I got the Iron Maiden show in November. So those are the future shows I have planned at the moment. Hoping to get more goodies around that time, and who knows, maybe during the summer I might go to more shows, so on and so forth, but that's only for the update. But I just wanted to show you guys that I've actually got to meet Ripper Owens and he was able to sign my CD. Behemoth with Satanica. Of course, this is their fourth studio album, but of course, the legendary Behemoth from Poland, Blackened Death Metal Masters. This is the follow up to their third studio album, Incantation, which by that album, they were already starting to get into their Blackened Death Metal sound, which would eventually be the sound that they will eventually have today. Of course, notable songs for the album, of course, Decades of Therion, Chant for Echacesa 2000, which those songs are still played usually sometimes in their live sets. The production in this album is a bit raw, but you kind of expecting from an album that was released, I want to say in the late 1999, early 2000, so it's kind of expected from that. Great songs, and I like the fact that this album has some hidden tracks. If you listen to the album to the very end after Chant, you have like, I want to say 2 minutes of nothing but silence. And for Behemoth to kind of know the Behemoth has grown to the early roots in black metal, which those two albums were really kind of the greatest to eventually becoming a sort of a powerhouse in what they were meant to become. It's a great album. Highly recommend if you want to get into Behemoth. I mean, even though the Sadness is kind of my pick in terms of like favorite Behemoth albums, but if there's an album you want to start up to kind of get yourself easily into Behemoth, Satanica is a perfect choice for you to get into. Continuing on with more Behemoth, of course, I have now Zoos Chaos Cultus Here and Beyond. This was their sixth studio album. By this time in the mid 2002, Behemoth were already starting to get that Black and Death metal sound that they're mostly known to perfection. Of course, you have songs like Horns of Baphomet, you have The Harlot of Saints, you have Azabab So Below. This time the production was a bit better. As the albums would progress in Behemoth's discography, the production would get better to eventually having the sort of sound that will eventually lead on to an album like Evangelion, which Evangelion will later become sort of the genesis of what eventually will become the Satanist, and of course, I Love You Darkest and Cordenaverium. But here and beyond, this album is one of their heaviest and one of their best albums ever produced. honestly, before this, and probably something like Demigod, before Demigod was ever released, I could have said that this album, during this time period, was the best album Behemoth have done so far. Of course, when they released Demigod, that would have been, taken out of the picture. But in terms of here and beyond, to me, if I were to rank Behemoth albums, which that would be a ranking I'm gonna do in the future. Let me know down in the comments if you want me to do that ranking. I'll probably put this in my top five because it is a well-produced album. By this time, Nurgle, again being Nurgle, and of course that album cover having the depiction of Baphomet. I mean, it's Behemoth. What more can I say about Behemoth that I already previously said before? So if you haven't listened to Behemoth, listen to this beast of an album. Guard with Fall. This is their 12th studio album from these Norwegian black metal, progressive metal, folky metal masters. Of course, I became a fan of Guard when they released True North back in 2019, which that was a beautiful master album. And with Fall, I think it is. I want to say is a either equal or even surpasses True North because Fall has more folky elements. When you listen to a song like Nordic anthem, even by the name of Nordic, you're gonna think it has some folky stuff, and it does. ICS Vortex vocals are just more on point. To me, my personal favorite song of the album has to be the first track being Summit. This has the potential of being a big contender for my 2024 albums of the year. And I have said it once, I'll say it again. In some bands, there's some certain bands in metal that have a perfect discography, Barknagar being one of them. And hopefully these guys come to the States because I think they were originally supposed to come to the States in 2020, but of course with the pandemic hit, they couldn't come to the States no more. But hopefully they come back and tour with this album because this is a masterpiece and it's going to be a huge contender for 2024. Cage with Ancient Evil. This is the seventh studio album by the San Diego, California power metal band, which has been around since the late 80s actually. And honestly, when I saw Tim Ripper Owens and they announced Cage as the opening band, I had no idea who these guys were. I went to that concert blind, didn't check anything on them. While I was at their show, I was like, I'm gonna go in blind and see these guys are pretty good. And I gotta say, this band, which I'm ashamed I didn't know who these guys were when I saw them before I saw Tim Ripper Owens, they fucking blew the fuck out of me. They made me a fan. And of course, I got their seventh studio album, Ancient Evil. I mean, for the fact that, of course, the album cover, I mean, look, Louise. But the fact that this is a concept album about this couple that the wife is dying of cancer and they've tried to go through every single doctor. There's no cure until this sort of like witch doctor, sort of like Dr. Frankenstein figure says that there is a way to cure your dying bride. And of course, they kind of do the sacrifice, and the bride at the beginning starts to get better. But as time goes on, she begins to crave more human flesh. I think that's a perfect way to say it. She becomes a monster, and there's no way of stopping this. She needs to be killing and craving more human flesh and blood to the point that the husband at the end has the tough decision of killing her bride, and eventually she gives birth to a demonic baby. And it's this album is the full-on trip. And the fact that this album, there's some passages on this album that Blaze Bayley from Iron Maiden actually speaks in this album, and I was amazed that Blaze Bayley was able to help these guys out. And actually, I got it signed, if you can see more clearly, by the entire band. I don't know if the camera does it justice, but you can sort of see all the signatures. Got it all signed by the band. And give these guys a listen. I mean, I'll hopefully if they come back to my town or I see them in the future, I'm gonna get more stuff from Cage. But fucking amazing American power metal. You will fucking love these guys. Caifanes with El Silencio. Of course, this is their studio album from this Mexican rock band. Of course, if you know me personally, you know that I was born and raised in a Mexican American household. Spanish music playing all over the place, which the majority of Spanish music I don't like, just my thing. But As the time has go on, I discovered more Spanish bands, not only from Mexico, from Spain, from Argentina, and so on and so forth. But Caifanes being one of the most important bands in rock in Mexico, because before Caifanes, there wasn't really much of a scene in Mexico until these guys came along. And pretty much the perfect way I could describe Caifanes for you, for non-listeners of Caifanes, or even like Spanish music in general, pretty much they're the equivalent of The Cure, but only in Spanish. That's like the best way I could describe it. And some of these songs are so good to the point that, like I mentioned in the intro, I'm gonna see them for the first time in June, and I'm pretty excited to see a Mexican band from Mexico City come to the States, which they've done so many times, and I'm excited. But some of the songs are so good, of course. Me Amor Firme, No Dejes Que, Hasta Morir, Mariquita, Para que nos digas que no te pienso en ti. Of course, if you speak Spanish, you understand the language, you're gonna get these songs easily. For a non-Spanish or speaker, it's gonna be a while, but the musicality kind of mix it up. For pretty much, it's kind of like with Rammstein, even though you don't know German, just by the lyrics, what more or less you can kind of in your head, kind of guess, and the musicality and all that. But this is one of the most important albums in Mexican rock, one of the most important albums in Mexican music in general. And give these guys a listen. They've been around since the late 80s, early 90s, but you know, Caifanes, pretty good album to get with El Silencio. Cannibal Corpse with Bloodthirst. This is the seventh studio album from, of course, Tampa Bay, New York. I mean, it's fucking Cannibal Corpse. Do I really have to say who they are? I mean, this is one of the greatest death metal bands of all time, next to Death. And I actually got a couple more Cannibal Corpse albums I'm going to show up in a bit. But Bloodthirst, this was the follow up to Galileo Suicide. And in a lot of people's mind, this is the best performance by Corpse Grinder. And you can I can sort of agree into some perspective. We have songs like Ecstasy and Decay, Raped by the Beast, which is probably the first song of the album, Hacksaw Decapitation, Dead Human Collection, The Spine Splitter. Cannibal Corpse at this time were starting to get more warm into the Corpse Grinder era. Bloodthirst being one of the albums that sort of got them more into Corpse Grinder. And that fucking album cover, I mean, I'll probably talk about this in my controversial album cover series in the future, how this album cover got censored by a lot of covers that got censored in different areas in the world. But that album cover, man. I mean, the one thing about Cannibal Corpse I have to give them credit is their album covers. Some of them are the best, even though Kill's like probably my least favorite. But you know, it's Cannibal Corpse. Fucking hell, Cannibal Corpse. In that, of course, we have here Gore Obsessed. Of course, this was released in 2002. Again, still recording in Texas, but this time Neil Crennan was the producer of the album. And this is, for the longest time, this was one of my least favorite Cannibal albums. But when I got this album and re-listened to it the first time in like years, it still warms my heart because it got some great songs. Pit of Zombies, Hatchet to the Head, probably the first song on the album, Hung in Blood, Grotesque, When Dead Releases Life. Um, Again, and one of the most, I guess, gory album covers when you have like the zombies kind of devouring uh, uh, a freaking human, and of course the main zombie with the freaking mask, sort of like being like a cave, kind of runs me a bit of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Probably, yeah. Actually, this album, if Leatherface was a metalhead, of all the Cannibal albums and album covers, like this will be the one that he would like the most, just because of the freaking faces kind of turn into a cave. But again, another exceptional Cannibal album to the collection. And once I'm done with the Cannibal stuff, I'll be close to completing their discography. So hopefully I can complete the discography before the year ends. Continuing Cannibal, of course, now we have the Wretched Spawn, of course, the follow-up to Gore Obsessed. And thank God this is the uncensored version that I got. I think I got it from Erect Records, because I know the Metal Blade Records, some of the editions have the cover censored and some of the lyrics censored. Thankfully, my copy is the uncensored with the original album cover, which gotta say, one of the goriest album covers Cannibal Corpse has ever done. This actually, fun enough, one of the songs in this album, "This Is Five," was one of, if not the first Cannibal Corpse song I've ever heard. So it's probably my favorite song of the album. Frantanic Disembowelment, trying to play that song live. Of course, if you've seen the Cannibal Corpse documentary, you know that is a song that I don't know how in the hell Pat O'Brien was able to find the riff to do it, but it's a hard song to play live. I think they maybe play it live. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But besides that, you have, of course, Rotten Bodies, Landslide, They Deserve to Die, Psychotic Precision. Honestly, in terms of like my top five favorite Cannibal Corpse albums, this CT5 has to be up there. Of course, the controversy with this album cover. Later on, again, maybe another video might do my controversial album cover series in the future. You guys want to see that video? But yeah, one of my absolute favorite Cannibal Corpse albums ever. And the last Cannibal Corpse album in this update, of course, I got Skeletal Domain, released in 2014. This album honestly took me under the radar because when I was getting more into Cannibal Corpse around this time, this album to me sort of went off the rails. Like it just flew by me because honestly, again, I wasn't really getting more to Cannibal till like around 2015, 2016. So this album caught me by surprise. But when I finally started to get more into the discography, this album actually surprised me the most. Yeah, even though the album cover is a bit more black than other album covers, it didn't stand out that much with the, I think it's like a demon tree, and of course you got some zombies and some bodies. I mean, from far side you can not see really the album cover, but from the you close it is kind of cool. But the songs again, Cannibal Corpse, great songs. Funeral Cremation, part of the very song of the album. The title track is great. Hollow Bodies is amazing. Kill or Become, it's great. It's Cannibal Corpse. All their albums are great. The only complaint I might have, I get, is probably the album cover looks a bit too dark. Not in terms of like it's evil, but like in terms of color wise. If only the colors were a bit more brighter, have a bit more brighter colors to the album cover could have worked. Maybe have like maybe like the a little sunrise more, but you can kind of see it right there. But amazing album. And with this album, it kind of, I'm sort of one step closer in completing their discography. I just need like three more albums. I need the live album, and I need the Hammer Smash Face EP. So hopefully, next time I see Cannibal in the future, I have all that complete and I can show it off and probably do a ranking on all the Cannibal Corpse's albums, on their album covers, future videos in the channel. But of course, Skeletal Remain, great, amazing album. Hamford with Manguos Hendorster. This is their third studio album from this band from somewhere in the foreign Europe islands. Of course, Hamford being a sort of Death Doom band, me being the Death Doom guy. Of course, I was gonna be a fan of these guys. I actually got into Hamford thanks to their second studio album, which was Tamisiget Lithium. I think that's how you pronounce it. I have it in the collection. But when they announced that we're gonna release an album in 2024, I knew I was gonna like this album, and what a journey of its own. Even though I have no idea what they're singing, thankfully in this edition of the album has both the original lyrics and the English translation. But when you read the English translation, you kind of lose a bit of its oomph to it. But that's why sometimes it's better not to know what they're singing about, even though the band has stated in interviews about this accident during, I think if I remember correctly, it tells the tale of this expedition, or maybe some people that something happened in the early 1900s of this village that they went up to sea, and they kind of died during sea fishing. Not like Moby Dick, but something around that area. But when it comes to Hamford's, their stuff is so amazing and it touches your heart. It made me cry, especially when they played the song. I think it was, and I apologize for my mispronunciation, Marusor, the third song of the album. I think that was the album that kind of made me cry the most. Again, not knowing what they're singing about, but knowing the concept behind the album. It's a journey of its own, and again, a very big potential album with a contender for 2024. If you have not heard of Hamford, check out their stuff. check out this album. It will blow your mind and it'll make you a fan. Judas Priest, Invincible. Of course, this is the 19th studio album from the metal gods themselves. I don't need to know. I don't need to tell you who Judas Priest is. If you're a metal fan, you know who Judas Priest is. And Judas Priest has been in a consistent rise ever since Redeem Your Souls, of course, ending during the production. And then 2018, 2017, around there, they released Firepower, which that was my 2018 album of the year. And of course, it's been 6 years since they released something. And Invincible Shield, my God, it keeps that trending. I mean, something that I think Iron Maiden should take notes on and how to revive your band. I mean, my God, every single Halford's vocals are they're aging like a fine wine. The older he gets, the better he becomes. I mean, from Richie Faulkner on guitars, not Glenn, is it Glenn? Yeah, Glenn Tipton sometimes is in the band doing the studio work, even though Andy Sneap kind of takes over the band when it comes to touring. But these songs are amazing. I mean, from Panic Attack, the first single that came out, to the title track, to Giants in the Sky, kind of giving us an homage of all the past people, of all the metal heads, all the metal gods, all the metal musicians that have died. It's kind of a tribute to them. And luckily, I was able to find my copy at Target, of all places at Target. And this was the booklet edition, which has the 3 bonus tracks: Fight Your Life, Vicious Circle, and The Larger, which I don't know why they didn't include these 3 songs originally in the album, make it a 14 album affair. But still, Judas Priest's Invincible Shield, another album that could possibly be the 2024 album of the year. But again, there's still a lot of time left for that to happen. But man, Judas Priest has been on a high, and hopefully one day I have the opportunity to see them live one of these days, and I can finally say that I finally saw the metal gods himself. But fucking hell, Judas Priest. Twin Tribes with Pendulum. This is their either fourth or fifth studio album by this 2-man project of Luis Navarro and Joel Niño Jr. out of Brownsville, Texas. So automatically, being that they're a Texas band, automatically I had to support these guys. These guys are a mix of dark wave, synth wave band, which might be shocking to some of you guys that actually like this kind of music, which honestly, I've been getting more into dark wave and synth wave thanks to Hannah from the Horseman podcast. She's been getting more into that kind of sound. And sometimes it's good to kind of not listen to that much metal, even though I still love metal, because metal is my kind of music. Dark wave, synth wave comes close to it, but some of the songs are absolute bangers. Honestly, when listening to Twin Tribes, I feel as I'm back in the I feel as I'm in the 80s when they have a song like Cauldron of Thorns. My favorite song of the album starts out slow, and honestly, Twin Tribes and the whole dark wave, synth wave genre are songs that you can put at a party and just have a great time listening to them. Of course, they have songs like Sangre de Oro, Metal, Monolith, that music video that they released from that song. Kind of reminds me of the Ghoul from Venom. I don't know why that's the first thing popped in my head. But of course, being they're a Texas band, I was going to support these guys. Another potential 2024 album of the year contender. And it's a shame that I actually became a fan right after they kind of went big, because before they kind of became bigger now, they came to my town like maybe 3 to 4 to 5 times in the past, and I never got this chance to see them. And now that I'm a fan of them, I wanted to come to my town. So hopefully that is a chance. So hopefully I have in the near future can catch them live and meet the guys, because they're actually pretty cool guys. I've had friends who have met the band, and they're seeming pretty cool guys to hang out to. But if y'all have not listened to Twin Tribes, if you're a fan of dark wave, synth wave music, check them out, especially Pendulum. You will be a fan of them automatically by the first note. So that pretty much covers all the goodies that I've gotten so far in the past couple of months. I know it's not the biggest haul I've ever gotten, but like I said, I'm slowly but surely getting more CDs, getting more stuff in the future. There's a lot more stuff I still need to get in the collection. I'm still trying to get stuff from last year, which again, it's kind of hard to kind of keep up with so many albums that are coming out during the years. and albums that I want to get in the future. But let me know what you guys think of this new kind of editing in the video. Hopefully it is pretty good. Let me know what kind of videos you want me to do in the future. Let me know what stuff I should get in the collection. And like I mentioned before, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow me on my Instagram, and let this channel grow. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, everyone, and until next time, stay metal.